Madison, Wisconsin is as good as it gets if you are like me and you love the college sports.
This is the Jump Around with Jim Rutledge and Pablo Iglesias, streaming live on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel.
Dancing down the sidelines. Can they catch him? No! The Badgers answer instantly. There will be no undefeated champion on Wisconsin with an unbelievable stretch drive to the championship game. Gordon again! Inside the 5, touchdown! What a performance by Melvin Gordon!
Chucky Hepburn, Big Ten on the line. Yes!
It's over. The Wisconsin Badgers win 17-9. They are the first Big Ten team ever to win successive Rose Bowl games.
That is the best college sports town in America.
Welcome into the Jump Around, a Badger-dedicated show on ESPN Madison and ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube page. I'm Jim Rutledge alongside Pablo Iglesias. Woo! Riley Yelp behind the glass. Almost at primetime Warshine, but he's the producer of my other show, Jim, Matt, and Molly. That one is presented by Coors Light. We have a lot to get into today. Despite the loss, this is where we'll start, Pablo. I'm not too upset about the Badgers losing to Indiana. Because, you know what, it was 7-6 at halftime, and the Badgers, or maybe it was 7-10. Or
10-7.
10-7
Indiana.
10-7 Indiana at halftime, and you know what, it felt like the Badgers had a puncher's chance. They brought all their energy. Obviously, Indiana, elite-level team, came out and just throttled the Badgers, specifically in the third quarter, and just put that thing away, which is fine. The Badgers are not as talented. They didn't look like they quit at any point, and you know what? It's a game I thought the Badgers were going to lose before the season started. It's a game that felt even more locked in on, and I think we have to grade on a curve this year. So, for me, the Indiana game matters in the fact of how do the next two games go for the Badgers. We said this before about when they lost to Alabama. It kind of just seemed like they were deflated for their next game, and then everything went downhill from there. They lost to Maryland and then kept on losing. This case, don't get deflated that you lost to a premier team, a national championship caliber team, and move on and give Brett Bielema and give P.J. Fleck all that they want the next 2 weeks.
I loved the idea going back to early in the week that Kurt Cignetti said that no matter what, there's a target on their back for a reason as the second-ranked team in the nation, is that whoever they face from here on out, they're going to get their best shot. And I think Wisconsin, all in all, gave it their best shot. They took a risk putting Carter Smith in, giving him his first career start. But it goes back to even a couple weeks ago when we had Sojourn Shelton on, who recalled when they played Alabama in 2016. That gives you a look at what a national championship caliber team looks like. That is how they treat themselves. They make the big plays when it was necessary. And yes, unfortunately, it ended up burying Wisconsin. But also, that's how you see, when they're facing adversity, this is what they do. This is how they answer. This is how they execute. So yes, all in all, it's you can't really take moral victories too close to the heart and say, yeah, hoorah. But also, you know what? You said it perfectly. Grading on a scale is the best way to look at this team. So again, I think it gives you an idea of what a championship organization and what a team and a program really looks like moving forward.
Yeah, for me, I was really encouraged by what I saw in the first half because the Badgers playing at their very best this season with their fourth-string quarterback, a banged-up offensive line, a so-so secondary, can still hang with the number 2 team in the country. So I don't know how fans couldn't be just over the moon at how they played in the first half. However, then the second half showed that they are still a very, very flawed team that is nowhere near Indiana's level right now. So looking at it from two sides, I was not mad. I wasn't mad. I was disappointed that they couldn't finish as strong as they started, but overall I was encouraged with how the game went.
Not mad, just disappointed. The ultimate dad line.
Yeah, exactly.
Jim, how many times you said that real quick? I didn't mean to put you on the spot like that. I just realized that.
Well, I was letting the music sounder play there. I haven't said it a ton. I've said I'm not mad a lot, but not the disappointed part. A lot of times it's more of I'm not mad. I just know you can do better, or I'm not mad.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, that's that sort of thing. A lot of it's more of I'm not mad, but you should be the bigger person. A lot of times it's more of right now the kids are still young enough where they're just fighting with each other. So it's more of I'm not mad, but you know that you're 12 and she's 8, so you gotta not act like an 8-year-old. And so that's more of hey, you're not in trouble, just get it together. Is kind of my. I haven't gotten to full disappointed. I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure it's definitely coming. Actually, I think we've had some stuff with the phone of like she's stealing candy. Like she's been stealing her candy. My oldest, and then she was sick. Like not sick, but like my stomach doesn't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, yeah, you ate about 20 pieces of candy overnight, so not mad. You just hurt yourself on that one. Like you're gonna have to live with that.
I can relate to that. I used to do that as a kid. And then my parents. I'd get in trouble for it, but yeah. I don't think they were ever encouraged by me stealing candy, but they were mad, just frustrated.
And then you have your own consequences.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like, all right, this idiot's going to learn on his own that you can't eat that much candy. Sometimes you just got to touch the hot stove and just move on. All right, speaking of the hot stove, we'll talk about this hot stove topic. That's a professional
what a
transition
segue.
there. Yes.
Amen to that.
Thank you.
Wow,
Thank you. I just needed a little validation for it. Carter Smith or a transfer is the big topic, I think, amongst most Badger fans right now. You can chime in on our YouTube stream if you want to join the conversation. But, Riley, you mentioned, I know Jim Polzin wrote an article addressing this a little bit as well. What was your takeaway from that article before we get to our thoughts on it?
Yeah, my overall takeaway from Jim's article is that this is such a complex issue and that there's so many different ways you can look at it that, in my opinion, are all valid. Like, you can look at it ultimately, it's going to come down to how does Carter Smith play these last two games. That's going to be the biggest factor, I think, in Luke Fickell and Jeff Grimes' decision moving forward. However, if you are of the opinion that Carter Smith, from what we've seen so far, like, he clearly doesn't have it yet. We need to go out. Look at what Indiana's done. They had Kevin O'Rourke 2 years ago. They have Fernando Mendoza this year. They went out and put a priority on getting the best transfer portal QB out there, and look at what they've done. The QB is the most important position, so that's what we got to do. Or you can look at it from the perspective of Carter Smith has shown a lot of flashes. He's shown a lot of leadership. Clearly, this team believes in him. And Jim Polzin included in his story quotes from guys on the team. Like, they clearly believe in Carter Smith. So why not be the developmental program we want Wisconsin to be, take Carter Smith and grow him into the next great quarterback of the future? And I guess Wisconsin doesn't have a ton of next great Wisconsin quarterback. Like, there aren't really many great Wisconsin quarterbacks to choose from. But create a great Wisconsin quarterback, develop from within, and move forward with Carter Smith. So that was my big takeaway. There's a lot of ways you can look at it, and I wouldn't say any of them are necessarily wrong.
I would. But go ahead, Pablo. You go first.
I'm in the camp of let's ride it out. I know that next year, if you take the risk, it's a huge risk, and Luke Fickell does not have a lot of room to take those risks. But look at, even if with Braden Lott coming in as the backup, I want to stick with Carter Smith because at least he's a guy who truly came into the program. He knows exactly what the system is. Maybe the system changes a little bit, though, too. But this is a guy that's just been truly developed by Wisconsin, even just like with less than a year of experience, is still being like trained and working under Wisconsin, whereas like you bring in a guy like Tyler Van Dyke, Billy Edwards, all those guys, they have talent, they have the stats, they have the merit, they work their way up to it, but it's almost kind of like learning that new system all over again. Maybe keep the guy that's in-house and develop him and continue to keep developing him. If guys are super supportive of him already and where we're at right now, he's not a perfect polished product by any means, and I will stand by that. He could probably admit the same way. All he cares about is winning and finding a way to win, but also not just the freshmen, not just the younger guys too that are around his class. I just still think about what Riley Mullman had said to me of how he came into the game unexpected, ready to go, and was willing to take the punches, was willing to just go through any type of opportunity to put Wisconsin in a winning position. And again, for the true freshman to show that in that moment, right, very abruptly, I got to give him kudos for that.
I'll give him kudos. I'll give him flowers. Y'all just suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. You don't know a good quarterback, and because he showed competence and people like him, of course his teammates like him. I mean, it would be a red flag if they said anything otherwise. Like, he's doing the bare minimum of the guy that shows up that people believe in and want to do well, that he didn't pee his pants when he went on the field at Camp Randall, a game he was going to play in anyways, is not necessarily a parade I'm going to throw for him. I will say this, Carter Smith has the pedigree to be someone that could develop. Jeff Grimes is not necessarily, in my understanding, I know he had Zach Wilson, but I think Zach was already there a little bit at BYU, doesn't have the pedigree of developing quarterbacks, and Carter Smith is a different type of quarterback from Zach Wilson, so it's not like we have Paul Christ here who had a track record of turning out pro-level quarterbacks, even if they weren't premier pros. Tolzien played. He had a quarterback from Pitt that played in the pros. Obviously, Russell Wilson. They had guys that showed up. And Stave got a cup of coffee with the Vikings. Like, he had guys who could play a pro-type level. That's not what Grimes' history is, so there's that aspect to it as well. And then the last thing here is when you talk about Carter, you can't roll into this year with Daniel O'Neal's gone. Billy Edwards will be gone. Braden Locke was a disaster as a backup. You cannot roll into next year saying Carter Smith's our guy. Like, if you want to say Carter Smith can compete, fine. But you cannot roll into next year based on what we've seen so far and say Carter Smith is the unquestioned quarterback next year. That is insanity. Now, I'll say this. Either go big, go the Mendoza-type line, where you're going for the premier top 2 or 3 quarterback. I guess top 5 quarterback. If you can get a top 5 transfer portal quarterback, you pay him the money and you get him here. Even if it's a one and done, even if it costs you Carter Smith. All right? But if it's not one of those top 5, then maybe bring in 2 or 3 guys that will directly compete with Carter that have experience, that it's like, hey, if Carter goes and wins the job, great, and we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt to, as long as he's close, we'll go with him because he can develop more. But the guys we bring in are capable of being better quarterbacks than Danny O'Neal has been. Like an example, if Billy Edwards came here again next year, and obviously I'm using his name as a proxy, but that level of a QB against Carter Smith, I think that's a fair and real quarterback battle you can have and feel comfortable that if Carter doesn't look good throughout the year, you have a capable player in Billy Edwards. So I don't want kind of like a mid-tier guy. I want someone who is clearly, and if it's going to be one, I want 2 or 3 to clearly compete with Carter that fits the offense, that obviously is probably a similar player to Carter if you're going to have him compete. So that way you don't change the offense. If Carter doesn't work out, you got another quarterback who can run probably more than they can pass, and you use their legs to make things work. Otherwise, go big. And whatever that big transfer QB is, maybe it's Drew Aller, or maybe he goes pro, but Penn State, obviously new coach, maybe he's out there. I'm not saying he's the end-all be-all, but you go with one of the blue-chip quarterback prospects in the transfer portal, or you just grab a few of them and have them compete. That's kind of where my mind's at.
That's where I think the nuance is, though. And I'd rather, I don't want, if you're going to go with a mid-tier quarterback, just stick with Carter Smith at that point. Either go.
But you got to give yourself an out here. We don't know enough on Carter. Go with Carter Smith as long as he can. If he's let's say you start the spring and you go, he's the guy. He's going to get the snaps, but we have other people that are going to compete. And if Carter just maintains a growth curve, he keeps the job. If Carter doesn't figure it out, let's just say he plays the same in these next 2 games, and you can't go into next year being like, that guy's definitely going to figure it out in the offseason.
Yes.
That's where I'm
so
at.
then just make a splash.
Well,
because,
that's the ideal.
Yes. Because if not, you have so many other positions you could go after with NIL money, especially if they're going to do what they said and invest more into the roster and roster building. Either go big, get the best quarterback on the market, or stick with Carter Smith and get elite talent around him on the offensive side of the ball. If Atuka, we'll see how he is. He seems to be healthy. Get a running back, get some wide receivers for Carter Smith, get an offensive line, get some members of the secondary. I feel like our front seven's probably fine, but you'll need to replace JVR Suggs. I just think there's so many other areas of need on this roster that if you're not getting the best possible quarterback where it's a slam dunk guaranteed he will elevate this team, invest in something else.
I give you that, but there's no position more important. You cannot lead because currently, even if it's just Carter Smith, you can't lead the cupboard bare. And so, and James chimes in on the ESPN Madison YouTube stream, develop Carter, but still look towards the transfer portal. We're kind of saying the same thing, Riley. I just want, you got to add some people who have maybe played games before and say, hey, they fit the same skill set as Carter. Carter's going to get the benefit of the doubt that unless the player X that comes in just blows everyone out of the water, which is a great case scenario for everyone, Carter's going to have the job. But if Carter hits the season and just never gets better, you have someone else, you have other options. We can't have another Hunter Simmons is going to play. Or Danny O'Neal's going to play. So a tick up from them. That's why I said Billy Edwards, that it's Billy Edwards type player. And I know you got to, but this is truly spending, this is where we get back to, if the Badgers are serious about winning, you pay Billy Edwards his $500,000 or $750,000, and you say you're competing for the job with Carter Smith, and then you go out and get another guy similar to that level. So then you go, I got 3 quarterbacks, they're all different levels of experience, And we all hope that Carter wins the job, and we're going to try to stack the deck so Carter wins the job. But we got to cover our asses here because you can't roll out with Carter Smith and then players who are clearly worse than him. But I agree, developing him is key. But otherwise, I think the way the Badgers need to do it is, I think we've seen it, the biggest key to success is don't cheap the quarterback. And I think the Badgers haven't thought they've cheaped the quarterback, but clearly they have. Like, go find the money and pay a elite quarterback the money and see what happens.
And stay healthy.
And stay healthy is a big part of it. But, I mean, let's be honest. Billy's the quarterback for this team. Maybe they make the bowl. Maybe it's not as bad. And, again, Tanner or Mordecai or Van Dyke, again, I would say, just to be fair, like a win from each. I would assume that if they played all the games, you give the Badgers an extra win.
See, those guys, all three of those guys were good, but they were still trying to prove an extra level, a next step. I think that's what I feel like has been the consistent thing, that Luke Fickell brought in talented transfer quarterbacks who have shown some type of progression. But again, Tanner Mordecai Mordecai was good, but part of the reason why he wanted to stay too was because he was told by NFL scouts that he was good, but not exactly at the level that he wanted to be. So I think year after year, the transfer quarterbacks that came in at Wisconsin were always trying to prove that next thing, and unfortunately, it was more of the snake bit and bad luck where injuries had hit them. Very talented, but again, I think now where if you want to flip flop again, spend the money for Francisco Mendoza. If he's already been proven. He has shown that, and you even look at Michael Penix when he went to Washington. He was a proven quarterback in Indiana going over to there, and they ended up contending for a national championship. Those quarterbacks have already been have proven themselves and shown that they could play at the elite level, and now it's like other schools are showing them the bag, putting that money out there. It's like, hey, come play for us, and we will provide you the level that you want to play at and take you to the championship level because we know the pedigree that you already have and what you've brought.
I don't want to say it's a hot take, but if the Badgers could get a Tanner Mordecai type player. Tanner Mordecai worked out. He was just hurt.
Yeah.
And it's more the level jump because he was at SMU. But SMU, he completed 68% of his passes in 2021 for 3,600 yards and 39 touchdowns. The following year, 65% of his passes, 3,500 yards, 33 touchdowns. At Wisconsin in 10 games, but he didn't finish all those games, different type of offense, 2,000 yards, 65% completion percentage, 9 TDs. The TDs would not have matched his normal pace, but the yards would have been over 3,000 if he played the other 2 games for the Badgers, I think, especially if he finishes a different game. I feel like he's probably closer to that 3,000. And the Badgers didn't have the right offensive system overall, but a Tanner Mordecai type player coming in. If you're telling me the Badgers bringing a guy who's averaging 30 touchdowns and 3,000 yards passing and over 65% completion percentage in college football, I'll take that. I will absolutely take that. The guy can still compete with Carter, but to me, that's still a blue chip caliber player. Like Tanner Mordecai that's the one where you say injuries took away a win or two from the Badgers. Van Dyke, he had a nice freshman year that was very much up in the air. We don't know what he would have been. And same thing with Billy Edwards. But Mordecai truly was kind of that big swing that just, to one of you said, don't get injured. That was the one where, he doesn't get injured. I think he gets rolling. I think everything just looks better. We saw how he looked in that bowl game.
The Reliaq, he looked really good.
He
was a man on a mission. You could argue he outdueled Garrett Nussmeier. And then our defense kind of failed him. At the end, they couldn't finish off that comeback attempt. But he's also still on the 49ers roster, I think.
Is he?
I'm pretty sure he's still the third stringer there. So clearly, he had talent.
Yeah, he's a little bit small. I think that worked against him too. But so I just think that Mordecai was closer to what we want as a quarterback as far as the talent level. Well, it's been a new tradition here on the Jump Around, and we like to kind of bring up a clip every single week here. So, Riley, I'll let you kind of introduce this clip here before we get to clip of the week, and we'll react to it.
Around these parts, there's only time for the best of the Badgers.
We don't know exactly where we are right now.
Why don't you own the Wisconsin football team?
We need to play better significantly.
They're spoiled rotten. This is the clip of the week on the Jump Around.
Go someplace else. Go boo in a bar.
Man, I made the open. I keep forgetting I have the boo in the bar right after my Australian big voice guy.
So good. I love it.
Thank you. It is clip of the week, and this was from the Barry Alvarez show yesterday. Barry, not a fan of the line of questioning from one Jesse Nelson. Take a listen to what the coach had to say about some comparisons out there.
Guys, you think that Coach Fickell can get Wisconsin to where Illinois is now with Coach Bielema and surpass it?
Absolutely where Illinois is, for sure. I mean, if he could get there, he could get to the next level too. But, to get there is going to take some work, and we got to recruit the state, and we got to keep those guys in the state, as Coach said. And then we got to, pull the right pieces together.
I would hope that our expectation would be, no, Illinois has not done what Wisconsin's done. Like, what in the hell? Like, no.
That's
we
almost
go back
a
to where we were.
question. That's actually an embarrassing question.
I don't like it, Jesse.
Yeah, but did he say what Wisconsin?
Jesse.
Notice I waited until he was across the country to ask him this question.
Yeah. You asked if we could get to where they are.
Can we get to where Illinois is? Because right now they are ahead of us. Do we not agree they're ahead of us right now?
Right now, yes. But they have done nothing.
And plus, we could beat them. Potentially. I mean, I'm telling you, if we played like we did against Indiana, I think we could beat them.
I do too.
Wow. Fired up Barry Alvarez.
He's going to slap Jesse.
I love it.
All the way from Florida.
I love it.
Or parts unknown.
What did Five Fingers say to the face? Slap! Jesse Nelson.
Bang!
I love that.
How I Met
Barry
Your Mother,
Alvarez.
You've been slapped. I don't know if either of you are How I Met Your Mother fans, but good song as well. But anyway.
It's a song?
Yeah, You've Been Slapped. There was a whole thing. It's a whole bit throughout the 9 seasons. Anyway.
I dropped in about. So I'll be fully honest. Ted annoyed the bejesus out of me. I couldn't handle him. I love the Doogie Howser character. He was great. And Jason Segel and Allison Hannigan are all hilarious. But the guy that played Ted Mosby, so off-putting the entire time. I couldn't handle it.
See, I never watched full episodes, but I love the "Nothing Suits Me Like a Suit" song.
Nothing
that Barney
suits me
sings.
Yeah, Barney. Barney was the only.
You're for Barney Stinson, aren't you? Kind of he's a funny character.
Yeah, but I like the character. It's just like the movie Wicked. Obviously, Glinda is a disaster, but she's Ariana Grande does an amazing job playing her. We all should be Elphaba. Yeah, we all should be Elphaba of the person who does what they think is right, as opposed to the person Glinda is with Ariana Grande. But Ariana Grande plays Glinda with a G. Perfect.
Glinda.
Yes, perfect. So, anyways.
So, what does that have to do with Barry Alvarez and Wisconsin, Illinois comparison?
Wisconsin is Elphaba, and the Illinois is Glinda. It's all flash, no substance.
There we go.
And Glinda and Elphaba had her moments. Obviously, things are going bad at the end of Act 1 in Wicked or at the end of the movie, and things are going bad right now for the Badgers. But they're going to defy gravity.
Nice.
And they are going to rise up the top 25 poll in the future and finish ahead of Brett Bielema. And I do think the Badgers will give Illinois a run for their money this weekend. I don't think.
Great work on the comparison.
Thank you.
Well done.
Way to bring that back.
Dazzling details.
Yes. I think Bielema does a good job of getting players and building a structure and hiring good assistant coaches. I don't think he's an elite coach or runs an elite program. So I mean, honestly, all things considered, I still obviously this is insane to say, but I'd rather have Luke Fickell as my coach. I think Luke Fickell in the long run is a better coach. He might have screwed it up here, and that's still TBD. But because he hired, Phil Longo, and I think that just put him behind the 8 ball, along with expectations were too high, and all those. And everyone wanted Jim Leonard, and there was things working against Fickell, as opposed to Brett had to beg for a job, and Illinois finally gave him one. And I think Illinois will fall apart in the long run because it did here at Wisconsin under Brett, if we do not forget. So I do think the Badgers have a good chance to pass Illinois as of even next season if they go get that quarterback we're talking about. And also, I think they can beat them on Sunday or Saturday.
I mean, it seems like that it's just always been hot start to the season, but then starting to slowly fall off too. So with how they responded on the Indiana primetime game, we were all like, "Oh, this is going to be a good matchup," and all of a sudden it was like we thought Indiana was on fraud watch, and all of a sudden Indiana just comes in and knocks Illinois' teeth in and just kind of proves hey, Illinois still solid program right now, but that knocked them down a peg or two for sure, and really, really made you rethink of what Illinois looks like now long term as a program.
All right, let's get to the Twitter portal.
It's time. Jump on in.
Twitter portal. Sir Mix-a-Lot.
It is time to enter the.
Nice.
There are a lot of references today.
We've been Riley. Jump on it. Jump on it.
we've been all over the pop culture today. So, we're not really going to keep that rolling with the Twitter portal, but we do have some good tweets for you today, starting with this one. Took a different approach this week. We have Brandon Vault responding to my favorite burner, Dr. Marte. He could still come back after a year at Buffalo. What does this mean, pray tell? Daniel Freetag was a former Badgers basketball player who transferred to Buffalo and has been having a lot of success with the Bulls right now. So how do you guys feel? And then someone, Brandon Vault, brings up the point like, hey, maybe he balls out of Buffalo, then he comes back to Wisconsin. Like he develops elsewhere and comes back. How do you guys feel about that happening? The player leaving because he doesn't have playing time. He's not good enough yet to be a Badger. Leaving, developing elsewhere, and then coming back in the future.
I think it's fully dependent on how Greg Gard and the team handled everything throughout the year and in the process afterwards. And Daniel, is it Freitag?
Freetag.
Yeah. Daniel Freetag's personality, which I don't know. Like, some people might just want to have the chip on the shoulder, even if Wisconsin didn't do anything wrong. They're just going to use that chip and kind of never look back, which I'm not going to fault him for. I feel very confident, and I have no inside information on this, but just knowing Greg Gard and his staff, I'm sure they handled everything with class and did the absolute best they could by Daniel. So I think that it's on Wisconsin's end. I think that they've left it available to be open, and I think that they've made it known to Daniel that, hey, we want, like, you're not blocked. We didn't not like you. So it's really just a matter of what he wants to be as a basketball, and I'm not saying it's bad or good if he doesn't come back, but yeah, could he play his way up? Yeah, he's incredibly talented. I'd love to see a local kid come back to Wisconsin and ball out at Wisconsin. And I think this is new college basketball. And realistically, I think a lot of times someone like him is just going to go to a Buffalo or maybe a little bit of higher level school, maybe even like a UW Milwaukee for a year or two, or Green Bay, and then come back and play or then move up to the Badgers instead of coming back to the Badgers.
Why not? I mean, again, it all goes back to how did he exit? How was the conversation? And again, even with exits, I know that Chucky Hepburn, when he went to Louisville, and obviously different situation, but more so, again, it's like mutual respect. Everybody understood why. So, like to your point, Jim, it just feels like that Greg Gard and his staff very much know how to understand, like, basically how the moving parts work right now as everybody's trying to figure that out, and how the roster works. If it didn't work in this moment, it didn't work in this moment, but also that doesn't mean that it is a forever thing. The door could still be open. The bridge might not be burned as many people could think, like if somebody who's a big recruit and decides to move on. I love seeing him ball out. I think he's a great guy. I love how he fit. I just wish it would have worked out last year, but I could also understand, hey, maybe you need some more development time. Maybe you need a different place, and if the opportunity's there and he does come back, why not?
All right, some food for thought. Last one before we get to Evan. We have H-Town Badgers 220 saying it's about damn time. And that is in response to a tweet from Evan Flood referencing that Luke Fickell made the statement at his press conference that Gavin Lom could be competing for the kicker position with Nathaniel Vakos this week. Vakos is, I believe, 5 of 9 on field goals this year. So who would you rather see kick field goals against Illinois, Nathaniel Vakos or Gavin Lom?
Lom. I've seen enough of Vakos. At this point, if Vakos comes in, I assume it's missed. And yeah. I mean that with all due respect to the kid, but I was listening on the radio. I was putting away my camper on Saturday. I didn't think I had to be locked in front of the TV. I said, if the Badgers pull off a miracle, I'll just watch it back. So I listened to the broadcast with obviously LePay and Tauscher on the way down to Orangeville, Illinois. And so they kept me entertained.
I'm from Illinois, and I have no idea where Orangeville is. Anyway.
It's like 20 minutes south of Judah, Wisconsin. It's just over the border. Do you know where Judah, Wisconsin is?
Yeah. I used to play
Judah, Illinois.
Basketball against Broadhead, Judah. In middle school.
Cardinals. There you go. Yes. So anyways, now you know where Orangeville is. But I was taking my camper down there and listening to the broadcast, and it was actually one of those broadcasts I said, like, when I got out, it was halftime, and I was like, all right, this is nice. And I got back in the truck. I'm like, what the hell happened? But there was kick attempts from Vakos in the game, and LePay didn't say it, but you could hear it in his voice, like, this ain't happening. And so I got no confidence in Vakos going forward. So Matt Hamilton, we have it on our ESPN Madison social media, kicked a 36-yarder. That was crazy. If I up in Green Bay at their fan experience, if I if I had a choice right now, I'd rather have Matt kick a ball than Vacos. Matt's an Olympian. He's played under pressure. He might have a better chance of making a 30-yarder than Vacos. So I might go with Matt Hamilton.
He almost made a 45-yarder, too.
Matt's not busy now, so maybe you can pick up another career.
I'll keep it short because we got Evco coming up next. If you have 2 punters, why not go with 2 kickers? Just experiment with that. See what the heck happens.
Yeah, I'd like to see Lam give it a shot. That's it for the Badgers Twitter portal.
All right, that was the Badgers Twitter portal. Now we got Evan Cohen coming up in a second here. But Steinhaffel's Black Friday mattress sale is happening right now. Steinhaffel's is Wisconsin's mattress leader. My mattress is from Steinhaffel's. And right now...
Comfy?
Ungodly comfortable. Ooh. It's hard to get out of bed every day, and I don't mean that in a sad way. It's just so comfortable. It's hard to get out of bed. Got the king bed, too, with the... Got to get the space.
Yeah.
And then when there's a thunderstorm, the whole family can just pile in and you still can have a good night's sleep in that king bed. I got that at Steinhaffel's. In fact, my whole bedroom set is from Steinhaffel's as well. You'll find incredible Black Friday deals on all the best brands, plus 60 months, 0% financing at Steinhaffel's. And you also can save up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic sets, $900 on Beauty Rest, and even $900 on certified organic avocado sets. That's fascinating to me.
Interesting.
I got to go try what it feels like to lay an avocado. Available exclusively at Steinhaffel's. If you've been waiting for the perfect time to upgrade your sleep, this is it. Shop in-store or online at steinhaffels.com. Evan Cohen coming up after this.
Steinhaffel's Black Friday sale is here. Get a start on the savings with hundreds of items 10% off or more store-wide. Plus, amazing doorbusters like any size Sealy, $99. A queen bed, $399. A dining table, $494. This sofa, $799. Plus, buy a premium mattress and get free premier delivery on everything. Don't wait for Black Friday. Save today. Only at Steinhaffel's and steinhaffels.com.
We are headed to the matchup that everyone's been talking about. Wisconsin, Illinois, Smalls and I will be there. We're doing the show on Friday from ESPN Madison. We'll be at the game on Saturday. Smalls and I, ESPN Madison, will be there for both of our schools going head-to-head.
And that was Evan Cohen on Unsportsmanlike. You can hear that weekday mornings here on ESPN Madison. Evan, a noted Wisconsin alum, a Badger supporter, and like all of us, has been suffering through this season with the ups and downs. So, Evan, first, thanks for taking the time to join us. And tell us again, you're coming here with Wisconsin College Game. Like, what's going on? Not Wisconsin College Game Day. You're coming here with College Game Day. Tell us what you're coming to.
Yeah, Pablo, I'll be on Wisconsin College Game Day, I believe, on Saturday. So
did you clear that with Jesse and Ashton? Yeah, the host, and you clear that with everyone.
What do you mean? Is Ashton's hosting?
No, Jesse's the host of the show, and Ashton makes the decisions, right? Or
actually, I'm filling in for Jesse this week, and I say we want Evan on the show.
There you go.
There you go.
I got you.
There you go.
I mean, okay, so we're going to catch up to that part then, Jim. So basically on Thursday, Michelle Smallman and I are flying in from New York to Madison, and we are going to be there till Sunday morning. I am so excited to be back in Madison. I was there earlier this year with my family for the Middle Tennessee State game, but this is with the show, right? You know, I was on with Wildy and Tausch today, and Joe Thomas was on, and Joe was talking about the idea of, like, everybody's got to do their part here, and I feel like my part is I am fortunate enough to sit in a seat every day that both on radio and television and digital and every platform you could possibly imagine, including right here on ESPN Madison and ESPN Wisconsin, is broadcast all over the country with Unsportsmanlike. And I am a proud Badger grad. Now, to be fair, she's a proud Illinois grad. So why not come to Madison this weekend? And while, as you guys know, it is not exactly, Georgia, Alabama with Saban and Kirby Smart back in the day, what it is me trying to do my part. Right? Like, I still believe in the program. I still love Madison. Thursday, come in there. I think we're having dinner somewhere that Tausch arranged and then backed out of, which is interesting. And then Friday, the show from where you guys are sitting right now at ESPN Madison. Pablo, by the way, I volunteered you to follow us around all weekend, just so you're aware.
Great. Sounds good.
TMC for the weekend. And then all day, I mean, we have an amazing, amazing day set up. If you think about what's happening. So Smallman and I are there. We're doing the show from ESPN Madison. We're hanging out with everybody at ESPN Madison. Then we have a tour of Camp Randall later in the day while the high school championships are going on, which I know ESPN Madison is carrying all throughout our digital properties. And then we also are speaking to the amazing students at the University of Wisconsin-Madison at the student radio station WSUM, which is where I worked. Jonathan Zaslow and Amber Wilson are coming in for the college football tailgate tour on ESPN Radio, where they go one place every week, and this week it's Madison. So they'll be doing their show Friday night from the student radio station, being a part of ESPN Madison's event on Saturday, obviously Wisconsin College Game Day and their show prior, and then the game on Saturday night. So, like, I'm doing my part. Let's go.
Hey, he's doing it.
The only person that works harder than Evan Cohen is Matt Hamilton, who had to curl and once in a while host a radio show. Pablo.
I'm excited. I mean, I was excited to begin with to know that you guys are rolling into town, but knowing that I was volunteered to follow along for this whole journey, I'm just excited to hear this whole itinerary just thrown right out in front of me.
Yeah, I don't know that you actually are, because then I was told somebody is from the ESPN Radio Network team is actually going to be there. Because they were saying, like, hey, we're going to do this, that. And I'm like, just have Pablo come with us.
Yeah.
And then rightfully so, someone said, well, he has a job doing a million other things. And I said, oh, yeah, that probably makes sense. Anyway, but yeah,
well, I mean, so I'll tell you this.
I'm excited to be there, and I'm hyping this program up as best as I can.
Obviously, excited to be around when you guys do the show on Friday. Is there something, Wisconsin that I could bring in for you and Smalls Friday morning when I step into the studio? I know Ashton and Ben Wittes, our market manager and our content manager, will all be here in the morning. But I want to come by, get to see this, and get to help out where I can. But what could I bring in for you and Smalls that's Wisconsin related? What could I bring in on Friday?
I mean, okay, so this is interesting. So Ben asked that question to Michelle and I yesterday. And Ben's offer, and I love Ben, was a New York-style bagel place. And I said, that's not exactly what you'd be looking for if you're coming in from New York to Wisconsin to obviously do the show from there. I'm like, we live in New York. She lives, I don't want to get where she lives, but she has the opportunity to get New York bagels on a pretty regular basis. Right? And so I said, what about the cheesy bread that is near the Capitol on the farmer's market? You know what I'm saying?
They have a brand new store.
There's a new store
on Regent Street.
Very close to our tailgate location now. But I hear you. I hear you, sir.
Well, so I don't know what the answer is for a breakfast scenario. Dare I say maybe that's a good topic for the Jump Around / Jim, Matt, and Molly as to what should be brought in for Smalls?
We can throw that out there. Mickey's, I don't know if they're open, but that's a good one.
Mickey's may or may not, but I think it's Stella's is the
Stella's the other one.
Is the bread.
Yeah, and to give you guys a heads up, I will not eat much because I'm trying not to eat as much. So, but she will, because she just ran 26.2 miles.
Yeah.
She will be fine stuffing her face with food, Wisconsin delicacies on Friday morning.
Oh. Maybe a Wisconsin or a Madison, Wisconsin, like charcuterie board type of thing. Maybe we could try to come up with that type of concoction.
Well,
we'll figure something out.
We can get fully into. So the idea that Ben had is twofold, and I know exactly how it works. One, it used to be near our old office downtown on the square because I know the exact place. And Mr. Jason Wilde loves that spot and usually requests it when he's coming in if we offer it. But he also requests, another one could be, there's a donut place. We don't have to give out free advertising to everyone. There's a donut place that is known well in Madison that I think was here even when Evan was here, so we could bring that one in. It's donuts. It's not unique to Wisconsin, but this donut place is elite and well known in the Madison area.
Sour cream donut.
So there you go. All right, so Evan, this game has juice here in Wisconsin because Brett Bielema is the coach. And Pablo, share a little bit about how you accidentally maybe upset Luke Fickell with your question on Monday.
Yeah, so long story short, was cut off and wasn't even able to ask the full question. Wanted to set up because obviously the last time Wisconsin and Illinois faced off, there were some harder feelings. Luke Fickell pulling out the trick play against Brett Bielema. I thought it was fantastic pulling off the O-lineman for a touchdown, but tried to set it up saying, hey, Coach, you and Brett bring same type of energy, same type of intensity to the sideline, and I wanted to ask how excited he was for the matchup. Didn't even get to ask how excited he was for the matchup, and pretty much was just told, I don't really know too much about Brett, it was a whole thing. So I was trying to not feel too embarrassed when I asked the question, but I do feel like that respectfully, they do bring the same type of energy.
And Evan, before you answer that, I wanted to get, so Jesse Nelson with the Barry Alvarez show asked Tarek, Derek, and Barry Alvarez a question similar to, maybe inspired by Pablo's question.
Who knows?
And Barry's reaction was amazing, and then we can talk about the Wisconsin-Illinois game.
Guys, you think that Coach Fickell can get Wisconsin to where Illinois is now with Coach Bielema and surpass it?
Absolutely where Illinois is. for sure. I mean, if he could get there, he could get to the next level too. But to get there is going to take some work, and we got to recruit the state, and we got to keep those guys in the state, as Coach said, and then we got to pull the right pieces together.
I would hope that our expectation would be no. Illinois has not done what Wisconsin's done. Like what in the hell? Like no.
That's
we
almost
go back
a
to where we were.
Question. That's actually an embarrassing question.
Humiliating. I don't like it, Jesse.
Yeah, but did he say what Wisconsin?
You, Jesse.
Notice till I waited until he was across the country to ask him this question.
Yeah. You asked if we could get to where they are.
Can we get to where Illinois is? Because right now they are ahead of us. Do we not agree they're ahead of us right now?
Right now, yes. But they have done nothing. Nothing.
And plus, we could beat them. Potentially. I mean, I'm telling you, if we played like we did against Indiana, I think we could beat them.
I do too.
So, it is where the state – it's a good look at where the state of the program is and where Barry and Tarek and Derek know where it should be.
Can I just say that all four parties involved in the Barry Alvarez show were right, and none of them agreed with each other? Seriously. Yeah. So, Pablo, if your question sparked that, then that's great. So, Jim, to answer your question – first of all, Pablo, that question seems fair.
Yeah.
Jim, your question about the four answers. Let's go through this. Is it a fair question by Jesse to ask if Wisconsin can get the first? He didn't say, can Wisconsin be a national champion? Can they win the Big Ten? Can they go to college football playoff? The first step is getting to where a team like Illinois is right now. I deem that to be a fair question. Derek sitting there and saying, well, wait a minute. Illinois has done nothing historically. How are we going to use them as the comparison? That's fair, too, because historically, and you're talking to a Rose Bowl champion as well as an NFL player in Derek Angler and a very successful businessman and host in Madison. So Derek has every right to answer it that way. Coach Alvarez has every right to be insulted by the idea that the man who took a walk with him in the morning and took the Arkansas job in the afternoon would be setting a standard that his program that he created does not reach. Okay, that's right, too. And Tarek is right to clarify the question in saying, well, wait a minute. Right now, we need to get to Illinois before we get back to where the three of us, meaning Tarek, Derek, and Barry, got us 2 years ago. I think every part of that is actually a great illustration, guys, of where we're at right now. No, in the moment today, the current football team, 2025, Wisconsin is not as good as Illinois. The program is better than Illinois. Two different questions, two different answers on that one.
Ooh, yeah. I'm
okay. So,
yeah. Sorry.
Evan, earlier today we asked the question, and I know you don't follow the team. I mean, you follow the team, but to know who Carter Smith is might be a little bit beyond your
quarterback.
Yeah. He's the fourth-string quarterback, but he was a four-star guy. He appeared against the Washington, and then obviously Indiana threw for less than 100 yards. He's a developmental player.
The point that you're making is true, though, Jim. I do not know the team like the two of you. Not even close.
Right. Okay. And our fans here, this is a Badger-dedicated show on ESPN Madison ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube channel. So with that, there's been a big debate amongst fans, and this is more the era that you're from, that I'm from, is Carter Smith's the guy like, oh, we develop him, we try to get him better each year, and then next year he'll be a little bit better, and then the following year he'll be a little bit better, and then he'll turn into a 4-year starter at Wisconsin, and just a classic Scott Tolzien, Brooks Bollinger type story, and he plays a lot like Brooks, I think. But the thing is, and people love him, they think he's a great leader. In today's college football, my stance is the Badgers better be, if Luke Fickell wants to keep his job, they got to be looking for that blue chip quarterback and spend any NIL money they have on getting the premier quarterback. And you have to punt on trying to develop Carter Smith to be a starter next year because you're trying to compete to keep jobs and trying to compete for bowl games. Trusting a sophomore to do that and putting all your eggs in that basket seems super dangerous. As you watch college football, and obviously you've been here at Wisconsin, I think the smart thing to do is to go with the big-time transfer, but just in general, what are your thoughts on the philosophy of it?
So he's a freshman or a sophomore? Because I think I said freshman.
True freshman.
Yeah, true freshman,
okay.
yeah. No, I've said next year he'd be a sophomore.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so this is where, Jim, I tend to disagree. So here's what I'm thinking. So I was on with Wildy and Tausch and Joe Thomas today for a while, and I do want us to get into, if we could, just one thing that Joe said, which I want to bring up with you guys to get your take on. But one of my thoughts that I brought up to Joe and Tausch specifically, and Jason obviously, is maybe we're kind of doing it backwards if we're going for the quarterback. and I know that's wild because I am so quarterback centric. Maybe all of the money should be spent on linemen to protect the quarterback. And maybe, because like the transfer quarterback, I thought, and Jim, I said this on your show, I thought Tyler Van Dyke was going to be a home run for them. Home run. I thought it was a no-brainer. He gets hurt in the Alabama game, which, I don't know, maybe I'm just bad luck because I was at that one too. And then obviously now he's a backup at SMU, which is wild to me. But I think that what if we look at it differently? What if Carter Smith, as a true freshman, is good? And we don't look for the great quarterback. Instead, we look for great offensive linemen to make him into a very good quarterback by sophomore year. Then great-ish quarterback by junior year. And then the Tolzien, Bollinger types that you mentioned, where he could make it to the pros one day, maybe not as a full-time starter. He's not going to be Russell Wilson. But you get the point. Like, I kind of look at it as maybe all of our money should go to where we know we're good at, which is the offensive line.
Yeah, I'm with that too, because you look at you spend money on a quarterback, yes, in the NFL and in the pro level too. Yes, you want to make sure that your quarterback is well paid if they're talented, but also if you look at the left tackle side, yeah, offensive line, you got to invest a lot on the offensive line too. I mean, it just goes back to spending and recruiting too, because again, and I want to get your thoughts on this too, of do you feel like with the Phil Longo transition and how it just ended up not panning out, do you think long-term that they might have lost offensive line recruits? I think in general, the guys that Wisconsin typically recruited with Phil Longo and what type of offense they tried to go with, maybe they lost more, but especially with the offensive linemen, do you feel like that might have hurt them by trying to transition too fast into that system?
Yeah, definitely, because they tried to do a spread offense, right? They tried to do this high-powered, new-age college football offense where that's not Wisconsin. Like, you mentioned Bollinger, who is my favorite Badger quarterback ever while at the school. I mean, I definitely support Russell Wilson, but he's only there for a year, right? But Bollinger, if you think back to Mike Samuel and Brooks Bollinger, who were the quarterbacks my freshman and sophomore year at Wisconsin, where they won the Rose Bowl both years, 98, 99, 99, 2000. I may get some of this wrong. I don't think so. But Chris McIntosh, Aaron Gibson as your tackles with some Tauscher guy as a backup. You had
who?
Rabach as center, Costa and Ferrario. That's your interior offensive linemen. Those guys all played in the NFL. That's at one point or another. They all played in the NFL. And so is Brooks an awesome player? Was he an awesome player? Yes. Would he have been worse if he didn't have those guys? Absolutely. And I'll be the first one to tell you that. So I guess let's look at it this way. If I said to you we had $1 million to play with, what, Jim, you're saying is let's get $1 million quarterback, and I may say let's get 3 really good offensive linemen.
Right. And look, the offensive line is key for this team. I mean, you listed off that one, and I'm trying to remember but it was Travis Frederick, Gabe Karimi, Bill Nagy, and Pete Kahns was all, and they're all NFL guys too on the team that went to the Rose Bowl. Scott Tolzien as their quarterback, and it was James White, Monte Ball, and John Clay. 2 of those backs ran for 1,000 yards. The other one came 2 yards short. So to Evan's point, that's even closer in the timeline of having just offensive linemen upon offensive linemen who play in the NFL all being a part of a team and then being able to run the football. Riley, do we have the clip that Evan, I'm assuming, is referring to? Ready?
Yes, as long as you're okay with rephrasing your question, Evan.
Yeah. So basically when Joe Thomas was on today, I asked, I feel like we've all kind of wondered, is there a face of the program type general, like above general manager? Because I'm not trying to fire anybody.
Right.
And below AD. So I asked Joe Thomas with Willie and Tausch today if he's interested in taking a high-level position with the football program.
Yeah, I guess I would say no, just off the top, but I would need to know what that looks like because life's pretty busy right now, and I don't want to have to say no to my children. You know, like, hey, son, can't go to your basketball game ever because I'm going to be doing X, Y, and Z for perpetuity. But I think your point's a good one. Like, everyone should do their part. Everyone should look and try to figure out, hey, what are the things that I can do to help promote this program? And, you know, if it ever came to it, we'd have that discussion. We could have that conversation to see what it looked like because I do love the state. To your point, me, Tausch, we decided to move back here or move to Madison to be close because this university is so amazing. The city is so amazing. We wanted to raise our kids here. We wanted to be close to the Badger Kingdom right there in Madison because we love it. It's who we are. It's our identity. We're Badgers. Like, when you come to school here as a freshman, as an 18-year-old boy, and you become a 22-year-old man when you leave, and you go through Barry Alvarez and Brett Bielema, it gets into your blood, and it becomes a fabric of your identity that's stronger than maybe anything else. And I think that's why there's such a connection with alumni who went to school here or who played here, and there's so much passion in getting this thing right, because it is so important, and it's not a thing that you just would cut and run from and be like, well, I guess I'm just not a Badger fan right now. Like, we're always going to be Badger fans. We're always going to have pride in who we are and what our university is and what our football and basketball teams are doing and hockey and all the other sports. Like, that's why we want it to be good. That's why it's so important to us. And so I think we're willing to do those things. And I think that's why it's like, hey, what can we do tangibly besides having the NCAA change the rule book and having some type of salary cap that can make a difference, that can get us back to our rightful place as one of the powerhouses in college football?
That's a great answer by Joe. It gave an answer of someone who could definitely handle that position. Also, Evan, what happened to the jersey? If you're watching on, obviously you're watching this on ESPN Madison, ESPN Milwaukee YouTube streaming. Yeah, well, who was it? Like, is it digital? Yeah, please put it back on. But
sorry. Okay,
yeah, who was it? You go put it back on.
Right.
So
while I'm going to get it here,
yeah.
Can we discuss how I had to ask that question because Tausch was too afraid to?
Oh, really? That doesn't surprise me. But
anytime.
Anytime I can throw Tausch under the bus. So Joe is here. I'll say this. Joe is one of the best guys. And while and Riley, Evan will appreciate this. So a little behind the scenes. Riley Yauk, a ascending star here at ESPN Wisconsin. He's producing the show. He's really working
I
on
asked him to send me an invite, and I had to send him the invite for the calendar invite for this. But anyway, go ahead.
That is fair. That is fair. That is on me. That is
like Evan, you'll understand this. Like any ascending talented person, they're maybe not the best with details all the time. But he definitely, Riley, is trying hard. And Riley, Joe Thomas leaves Wilde and Tausch, who's in the Everlight Solar studio here. And in front of the whole office, please tell Evan what you did, and then we'll get into the jersey and everything.
So I walk up to Joe Thomas, and I just ask, hey, Joe, I got a question for you.
Now, did you know Joe well? Does Joe know who you are?
I mean, I've met him once or twice before.
Okay.
He probably has no idea who I am. But
okay. So Hall of Famer, Joe Thomas. Okay, yeah.
So I go up, hey, Joe, I have a quick question for you. Can you come on the jump around next Tuesday? And he kind of stammers, a little like, okay, I got to check my calendar. And then Tausch starts going off about how, he's going to have a luncheon going on. He's going to be busy. And, yeah, we'll see. I'll get his contact
time, though?
information.
You're like, how about 1 o'clock?
Yeah.
Like, you just kept on following up.
So we'll see.
And Joe's such a nice guy. He's like, well, mate, like he almost was going to commit there, but I think he really wanted to make sure he didn't overpromise and underdeliver. But great job, Riley, on that. Evan,
I just want to point out something. At about 5-something this morning Easter time, I happened to email Joe asking him to come in studio on Friday for our show at ESPN Madison, having no idea he was going to be on Wilde and Tausch. Then I go on Wilde and Tausch with him, and then he walks out of Wilde and Tausch, and Riley asked if he can come on the jump around.
Yeah.
He's never coming back to ESPN Madison.
And on the way out, to full disclosure, Jesse asked them, like, hey, Tark and Derek wanted you to join the Barry Alvarez show sometime.
Oh, my God. This is too much. Now I feel bad. Now I don't want him on our show on Friday. I feel badly for this.
Just embarrassed at this point. That's funny. I love it.
So is that a Joe Thomas jersey you're wearing, or what's the jersey?
No, it's Lee Evans.
Lee Evans? Okay, that's a good one.
Jersey.
Now, I just want to ask, I know people watching probably, Pablo, do you know Lee Evans?
I know the name. That's you can.
Oh my
you can
God.
rip off.
Riley, this is not a knock on you. I mean, Lee Evans was a really good NFL player and a great college football player for the Badgers. Riley, do you?
Yeah, I know Lee Evans. I never watched him play.
Well, yeah, you're a baby, but that's fine.
YouTube highlights.
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
when I get there on Friday, I think I'm going to make the decision now. I think I am going to take the entire ESPN Madison content team, and I'm going to do Badger trivia with them because this is a disgrace. This is a disgrace that these young men and women don't know who some of these great Badgers are, and they work at ESPN Madison. What kind of operation is Ben Wittes and Ashton Rotten running there? I'd like to know. This is a disgraceful performance.
See, I just took it personal that I'm just old because we had Jordan Taylor on from Badger Basketball, and they're like, yeah, I don't know who he is. I'm like, I covered him. How young are you guys that you guys were like,
I want – who's in there? I want Pablo. I want Riley.
Yep.
I want Sparks. And I want Primetime. In a room, I will ask them question after question about the Badgers historically.
Well, you don't think Matt Hamilton would show up?
No, I don't.
Molly Brown, she's the host there. Yeah,
Molly. No, but Molly knows.
Yeah,
Molly
I know Molly knows. Well, you
Evans.
wanted someone to answer questions for you. Like, you can actually get some of the answers you're looking for. Then.
No, I know the answer. I would ask the questions.
Well, I know that, but I mean, like, we could have a good showing if Molly's a part of it.
This is just.
Yeah.
This is just wild because we had our brainstorm of the social media meeting. Evan was going to reach out to you. Hey, here's some ideas that we have. Now you're just pitching the ideas to me. It's just like, hey, here's what we're going to do.
But I mean, how do you not know Lee Evans? Go study. Go study.
I got to hit the books. I got to be ready. I got to be ready to go.
In all seriousness, do we have a chance to win this weekend?
Yes.
Tarek
said it on the clip that we played. And I've been saying it since the Washington game. If they play how they played against Washington or even how they played against Indiana, Indiana's just more talented. The thing that Luke Fickell has going for him is that these guys believe, and Evan, I know you're a big Brooks Bollinger guy, and it has a lot to do with who he was off the field. Early returns on Carter Smith is he's a guy that this team rallies behind. That they love the way he plays. He's calm. He's collected. He's an instant leader. He's a guy that this team can rally behind. So if they play the old school, which they did against Washington and they tried to do against Indiana, bleed it out, ground and pound football using Carter as a rusher. Their defense, the Badgers' defense, is really good. And I've said this before, Brett Bielema is always ripe to be upset because I don't think he's a great X's and O's coach. I think he's a great recruiter who hires smart coaches, but he's definitely a coach that can be got. Especially, I think he gets extra emotional when he has a chance to beat the Badgers.
Evan, there are 3 reasons why I feel like that Wisconsin has more than just a puncher's chance in this one. Again, momentum is very much on their side in terms of how they're playing. Again, it's basically jumping off of hope with Carter Smith and how the young guys are balling out a lot more. Secondly, one more senior night. It's going to be the last game for a lot of these guys at Camp Randall. You are going in. It's a primetime game. It's extra juice. And the last thing that I think about, the last time Brett Bielema was in this building at Camp Randall was the Paul Chryst firing. I was at that game as a fan. That sucked the life out of that stadium. And I know that this is a new roster.
No. Yeah. I want to get to. I love what you're saying but Evan's got to get going. Did you just try to give Evan flowers in your big speech right there, where you're like, and Evan Cohen will be there, so the team will be hyped up?
I like that.
There are 4 reasons why Wisconsin will win.
Motivating. Must be motivating.
Slip that in there, like, and Evan Cohen's there.
Yeah, I should have. I should have worked on that one.
Yeah,
but last thing is, again, Brett Bielema. Last time he was at Wisconsin, that he just went in and just ran all over Wisconsin and essentially led to the Paul Chryst firing that next day, which was a very weird day. It was a very weird game. So I feel like that there's some juice in there. Again, even though that most of this team wasn't a part of that specific game, there's still some bad blood maybe from how that last game went when Illinois was here.
Well, let's hope this weekend is what you said, Pablo, and that they win this weekend and all of a sudden Carter Smith can be the guy, and we feel like we have something building here, and that the Badger program is rewarded for going against the grain, which is not pulling the trigger early on some of these moves with Coach Fickell, because everybody's saying, 2-3 years, done, whatever. No, maybe sustainability and commitment to the long term, we're the school that it pays off for. So I will see you guys on Thursday and Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, thank you for your time. We'll see you later this week. That was Evan Cohen. For Pablo Iglesias, I'm Jim Rutledge and Riley Yauk. This has been The Jump Around.